Hello, truth seekers. It's Michelle, and I wanted today to talk to you a little bit about the idea of feeling stuck and change no matter what you do. I wanted to offer 5 simple things that you can do starting today that will help you move your energy. And in Chinese medicine, we call this energy qi. And qi is the actual flow in our bodies of our natural inside energy. And we all have it, and it helps bring us throughout life as we grow and into different circumstances. And, we all have stress. And so today I wanted to offer some practical tips. The first of which is movement. So, movement of any kind, and particularly I'm talking about a type of mostly cardiovascular movement, but it can be literally dancing around in your kitchen or living room, or it can be kickboxing. It can be whatever suits you, where you can release some energy, and it can be fast or slow, as long as it's a type of movement where the heart is pumping and your muscles are going in a certain direction. Our bodies were made for movement. So we are here to literally move our energy. And as we physically move, then we also find that the emotions and the things that we feel like we're stuck in also move, and things start to shift. And it may take some time, and just keep doing it. Just keep moving as much as you can every day. So I find that when I have some anger or some frustration, or I just need to clear my head, the best thing and the easiest thing that I can do is I take a walk. And I think the combination of being out in nature and also physically moving my muscles and moving my energy and moving my chi really helps put me in a better state of mind, really helps put me in a place that feels different by the end of my walk. And like I said, it only has to be 20, 30 minutes. And if you have enough time to watch a TV program, or to sit down and whatever you do or scroll on Facebook, or whatever you're doing in your free time, you certainly have that amount of time to take out of your day and to get your body moving. So the second thing that you can do today is, when things are feeling stuck inside of you, and sometimes they can be thoughts or feelings or emotions, and sometimes we don't even know where they're coming from. Sometimes the thoughts or feelings are from past trauma, or a place that we're not really sure, we're not really honed in on in terms of how to get to where it first originated. But in that sense, the best way to get it out of your body is to physically get it out of your body. And so movement, and then the next part would be expression. And expression can be journaling, it can be writing of any kind. There's a great form of writing. Oh gosh, I forget the name of it. And it basically is just, you just write. I think it's called proprioceptive writing or something. It's where you're just writing from the top of your head. There's not really a pattern to it. There's just thoughts that are flowing in, and you're just writing them down. And they might, as you're writing them, they might not feel like they're making a lot of sense, but they are getting out of your body and physically moving out of your system. So it's a great way to shift energy. It's a great way to get that feeling of being stuck and being kind of lost in a place, in whatever place that might be. And by expression, I also mean talking. So that's why talk therapy is so helpful as well, is to literally express, how you're feeling and what's going on inside. And as you get it out of your body, the energy starts to shift, the chi starts to move. But have a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil handy, or you can even have a computer if you like to do things on your computer, and write down what's happening in your head. And I tell my patients this all the time, and I think they're surprised at the results. Part of, I think, the reason that it works so well is because your brain is a bit methodic in the way that it does things. And the reason that it's keeping you awake at night, the reason that it's like reminding you, oh, I got to do X, Y, and Z tomorrow, or, I have this big list of things for tomorrow, or I feel so bad about some, conversation I had with this person today, or whatever's happening that's preventing you from falling asleep at night. There is something in your brain that knows that if you write it down on a piece of paper, then that is safe. So if you get up and you write down, hey, I had this horrible, conversation with my mother, and this is how it went, and this is how I'm feeling, and this is what I might like to do about it tomorrow, then your brain kind of knows, okay, it's now I can shut off. Now I can take a rest. Now I can know that that information is already written down, and she's going to look at it tomorrow, and she's going to know what to do. So I can turn off. So it's not going to OCD, it's not going to obsess, it's not going to stick in that loop of kind of replaying, rehashing the whole thing. All right, step number 3, you're going to love this one. It's a little racy. Sex. Sex is a powerful, intimate tool that we can use to move our energy, to move our places of feeling stuck. And I don't necessarily mean sex with a partner if you don't have a partner, although that's nice too. But the Taoists believe that our sexual energy is very, very precious, and our sexual energy can be used in very creative ways. And in fact, they believe that we can attain higher states of consciousness through the act of sex and sexual intimacy. So sex is a powerful tool that we can use, and sex, is about receiving pleasure, about feeling pleasure. And when the pleasure centers in the brain and the pleasure centers in the body are turned on, it's almost as if we don't have that heaviness. So sex is a way to lighten things up and move things forward. So get out there and have some sex. All right. Step number 4 is sleep. And I know that might sound a little bit counterintuitive. So sleep, and people ask me, my patients ask me all the time, how much sleep do I need? Well, it's relative for each person. One person can do well on 6 hours. Another person absolutely needs 8 or 9 hours. Me, I love my sleep, and sleep is a really important tool in my states of mental health. And because I treat people with needles all day, I do like to get a good amount of sleep every night. Although, I have one or 2 nights that aren't great once in a while. But sleep is a very powerful tool because it's a way to refresh and renew our systems. And if we're not able to do that, or if we get to a point where, say, we just all we want to do is sleep, and sort of part of that, I think, comes from a place of, wanting to escape. It's the same reason people overeat. It's the same reason people binge watch TV too much or play video games. They're trying to escape, or take drugs or drink alcohol. We're trying to escape the feelings, and feelings are not something that we should be trying to escape. Feelings come and go, and as soon as we learn how to let them come and go, life becomes a lot easier. But I'll talk about that another time. But sleep is a way to refresh and renew. And the way that I first got into acupuncture was I was moving from Pennsylvania to California, and it was kind of a big move. I was fresh out of college, and I got very sick when I got to California. I got to the point I had gone I had gone to Yosemite with my boyfriend. We had gone hiking, and it was raining and cold, and I came back with kind of flu-like cold symptoms, and I was sleeping like ridiculous amounts of time. I was sleeping like 13 hours, 14 hours a night, which is definitely too much sleep. Um, and what I mean by it shouldn't interfere with your normal functioning. So I was having a very difficult time waking up in the morning. I was having and it got worse. I had gone to see a doctor, and they prescribed antibiotics, and the antibiotics made me even kind of more sick, believe it or not. So I my boyfriend at the time decided, hey, we need to see an acupuncturist. And that was my first exposure to acupuncture ever. And I at first was very like wary, and but I consider myself open-minded. So I decided to go, and I got a treatment. And within that first treatment, I felt so much more chi available in my body. I know it now as chi, but at the time I just felt great. I felt such good energy, and this was back before cell phones. I even called my boyfriend at the time and said, "Don't bother coming to pick me up. I'm going to walk home. I feel so good. I have so much energy. I'm going to walk and move." And it was a gorgeous sunny day in Berkeley, California. So anyways, sleep. Yeah. So there's too much. Too much. There's such a thing as too much sleep. And at that point, I knew when I wasn't able to really wake up well to get to work and to get through my day. All I wanted to do when I came home was go right to bed. That's not normal, and when that's happening, then that's definitely time to adjust and time to do things a little bit differently. So the last one that I wanted to talk about is water. And you might laugh and think, well, duh, we all know that you should be drinking water. And I'm not really just talking about drinking water. So I think this is a bit of a shocking one too. Just in the sense that water can be our teacher if we allow it. So oftentimes I like to observe water. So I go, the place where I hike, there's a lovely little stream. And so, anyways, I like to go and observe the nature of water, which is to flow. So, water has the ability to be constantly in motion. And it doesn't, if you notice, as water comes down a stream or a river or wherever it is, if it runs into an object, it has the ability and the capacity and the wherewithal to either go around that object or under that object or over that object, but it knows that it needs to continue flowing. So water, it can be our great, great teacher, and I highly recommend that you go and observe water and its capacity to. It also has the capacity to take the shape of the container that it's in. So in that respect, I think it's so fascinating because oftentimes, if we are in, for instance, a job that is too small for us, or it's not serving us, it's not nourishing us, we need to move out of it. We need to go into a bigger job. We need to go into a bigger vision of what we want for ourselves. So water is the same thing. It takes the shape of whatever container you put it in. And if you are at a point in your life where you're feeling stuck or like you're in too small of a container, it might be time to dream a little bigger, go into a little bit bigger of a container.